Chosen one. 3 advisors just finished having a conversation about you in a room you've never entered, and the most powerful person present literally got up and walked out when they heard your real value spoken aloud. They left because they knew what was coming next would expose everything they'd been hiding. Someone with billions is sitting in their office, staring at the empty chair where their most trusted advisor used to sit, finally understanding why everything felt wrong when you weren't around. The game just changed forever, and the fake one who thought they'd won just played themselves in the most spectacular way possible. 3 distinct energies gathered, each representing a different frequency of truth. The first one sits with the unshakable confidence of someone who knows their worth without needing anyone else to confirm it. They represent you, chosen one, or rather, they embody the energy you've been radiating even while others tried to dim your light. When they spoke, they didn't defend or argue. They simply stated facts. If that person was really the problem, they said, then why did everything flourish when they were present and crumble when they left? The second advisor was the questioner, the divine disruptor who'd been placed in that room specifically for this moment. They held oracle cards, but they weren't reading fortunes. They were reading the room, asking the uncomfortable questions that everyone else was too afraid to voice. Are you sure you're seeing this person correctly, they asked, or are you seeing them through lenses someone else handed you? Every question was a seed of doubt planted in the soil of deception, and those seeds were about to bloom into revelations. The third advisor said nothing. Their silence was louder than any words could be. They were the observer, the cosmic witness, the energy that makes people see themselves clearly just by being present. They didn't need to speak because their presence alone was making everyone uncomfortable with their own lies. They knew who you really were. They'd always known, and their knowing was about to become everyone's knowing. There was someone else in that room, someone who'd been feeding off the energy of a powerful person, positioning themselves as everything you supposedly weren't. This karmic had spent months, maybe years, crafting an identity specifically designed to be your opposite. If you were authentic, they'd be performative. If you were giving, they'd be strategic. If you were truth, they'd be whatever lie was most profitable in the moment. They thought they were winning. They thought they'd successfully replaced you. But divine timing had other plans. When your real value started being spoken in that room, when the actual results of your presence versus absence were laid out plainly, something shifted in the atmosphere. The temperature changed. The light altered. Everyone could feel it, but the karmic felt it most intensely. They realized that staying in that room meant their mask would fully fall off. Not partially, not gradually, completely and irrevocably. So they did the only thing they could do. They stood up abruptly, mumbled something about an urgent matter, and left. But here's what they didn't realize. Their exit was the confirmation everyone needed. The powerful person watching this dramatic departure suddenly understood everything. The person who claimed to be so devoted, so loyal, so superior to you, couldn't even handle a conversation where your value was acknowledged. It was like watching someone run from their own shadow, except the shadow was the truth they'd been desperately avoiding. You need to understand something crucial about this moment. This wasn't random. This was orchestrated by forces beyond human comprehension. Every rejection you faced was building to this revelation. Every door that closed was creating pressure for this explosive opening. Every lie told about you was adding weight to the truth that would eventually break through. You weren't being punished. You were being prepared. Not for revenge, but for revelation. The billionaire or powerful person in question had been living in a carefully constructed reality. Their advisors had been curating their experiences, filtering their information, managing their perceptions. They thought they were being protected, but they were actually being imprisoned. You represented the key to their cage, but you'd been painted as a threat to their freedom. The irony is delicious. The very thing that would liberate them was presented as the thing that would destroy them. But truth has a frequency that lies can never match. It vibrates at a level that penetrates even the thickest walls of deception. And you, chosen one, you've been broadcasting that frequency consistently, even when no one seemed to be listening. Especially when no one seemed to be listening. That consistency is what makes you dangerous to false systems. You don't change based on who's watching. You don't adjust your frequency based on who's in the room. You remain authentic whether you're being praised or persecuted. The karmic who left knew this about you from day one. That's why they worked so hard to distort your image. They recognized immediately that your authenticity would expose their artificiality. Your presence would reveal their performance. Your truth would illuminate their lies. So they launched a preemptive strike, trying to define you before you could be seen clearly. But here's what they didn't understand about divine timing. Truth can be delayed but never denied. The powerful person is now sitting with the discomfort of realization. They're reviewing every interaction, every decision, every moment where they chose the comfortable lie over the uncomfortable truth about you. They're seeing how they were manipulated into keeping you at a distance, how they were convinced that your strength was aggression, your boundaries were coldness, your self-respect was arrogance. The reversal of understanding is so complete it's making them dizzy. But you're not sitting somewhere waiting for their apology. You're not anxiously checking your phone for their message. You're not rehearsing what you'll say when they finally reach out. That's the power position you've earned through all those nights of questioning yourself, all those moments of wondering if maybe they were right about you, all those times you chose to maintain your integrity even when it seemed to cost you everything. You've already won the only battle that mattered, which was the battle for your own soul. If you felt the truth in these words, hype this video so more chosen ones like you can see it. The second advisor in that room, the questioner. They represent the energy that's entering many people's lives right now. The energy that asks, what if everything I believed about this person was wrong? This question is creating cracks in false narratives across multiple dimensions. People who never met you but heard about you are starting to question what they heard. People who dismissed you are wondering what they missed. People who betrayed you are beginning to understand what they lost. Meanwhile, the karmic who fled is discovering something painful. Without access to the powerful person's energy and resources, they're having to face who they really are without props and performances. They tried to run to another situation, another person to feed off, but something has fundamentally shifted. Their tricks don't work anymore. It's like the universe changed the locks, and their key to manipulation no longer fits. They're standing outside in the cold, realizing they built their entire identity on opposing you, and now that you're being revealed as valuable, they're exposed as worthless by their own construct. The silent observer in that room, they represent the universe itself, watching, recording, waiting for the perfect moment to reveal truth. Their silence wasn't absence, it was presence, so complete it needed no words. They were holding space for revelation to occur naturally, and when the karmic fled, their subtle nod told everyone what they needed to know. The universe had been keeping score all along, and the final tally was about to be revealed. You're entering a phase now where recognition is coming from unexpected sources. But here's the test within the blessing. Not every door opening is meant to be walked through. Not every apology is meant to be accepted. Not every opportunity aligns with your destiny. The same discernment that helped you survive the wilderness of rejection must now help you navigate the abundance of recognition. Don't let the pendulum swing make you dizzy. Stay centered in your truth. The powerful person wants to make things right, but they're learning something profound. You don't need them to make things right. You've already made things right within yourself. You've already validated your own worth through fire and trial. You've already proven your value by remaining authentic when it would have been profitable to be fake. This realization is breaking something in them, but it's a necessary breaking. They need to understand that you're not a resource to be acquired. You're a force to be respected. New advisors are entering their circle now. People who value truth over comfort, authenticity over appearance. Many of them have their own stories of being misunderstood and then vindicated. They recognize your journey because it mirrors their own. They're going to speak your name differently in rooms you'll never enter. They're going to correct false narratives you'll never hear. They're going to prepare paths you'll walk without knowing who cleared the way. But the most profound shift is happening within you. All those moments of self-doubt are being retroactively healed. Every rejection is being revealed as divine protection. Every closed door is being understood as divine redirection. Every moment of isolation is being recognized as divine preparation. You couldn't have handled this recognition before now, not because you weren't worthy of it, but because you needed to become unshakable first. The first advisor in that room, the one who knew their worth without question, they were showing everyone who you've become. You're no longer trying to prove yourself. You're no longer negotiating your value. You're no longer accepting less than you deserve just to be included. You've graduated from seeking validation to simply being valid. This shift in your energy is what made the karmic run. They can't exist in the frequency you now maintain. The powerful person is experiencing something they've never felt before with anyone else. When they think about you or interact with you, they feel grounded, real, authentic. It's like they've been eating artificial food their whole life, and you're their first taste of something organic. Every conversation with you feels like stepping out of a performative space into a real one. They're addicted to this feeling now, but they know they can't access it through manipulation or control. They can only access it through genuine connection, and that terrifies and excites them equally. The karmic's departure has created a vacuum, but not an empty one. It's a vacuum that's pulling in truth from all directions. People, opportunities, and resources that were being blocked by their presence are now flowing freely toward you. It's like removing a dam and watching the river remember its natural course. Everything is realigning around your authentic presence, and those who can't handle that frequency are removing themselves without you having to lift a finger. This is bigger than personal vindication, chosen one. You're becoming a template for how truth operates in a world full of deception. Your story is becoming a reference point for others who are still in their valley of misunderstanding. The way you handled betrayal without becoming bitter. The way you maintained integrity without becoming rigid. The way you stayed open without becoming naive. These qualities are being studied in realms you can't even see. The questioner in that room, they planted seeds that are now growing in multiple consciousness. People are starting to ask themselves harder questions. Who told me this person was bad? And why did I believe them? What did I gain by accepting these lies? What did I lose by rejecting this truth? These questions are creating a revolution of recognition that extends far beyond your personal situation. The powerful person is going to do something that shocks everyone, including you. They're going to publicly acknowledge not just your value, but their blindness about it. This isn't going to be a small gesture. This is going to be a declaration that shifts narratives across multiple spheres. They're going to use their influence to correct the record, not because you asked them to, but because their integrity demands it. By the time this public recognition comes, you won't need it anymore. You've already crossed the threshold from needing external validation to being internally validated. You've already won the real game, which was never about them seeing you clearly. It was about you seeing yourself clearly despite their distortion. It was about you choosing yourself when no one else would. It was about you being the real deal whether anyone recognized it or not. The three advisors in that room were all you, chosen one. The one who knows their worth was you in your power. The questioner was you in your wisdom. The silent observer was you in your knowing. You've been having this conversation with yourself all along, and now the external world is simply catching up to what you've already established internally. The karmic who fled was running from all three aspects of you, knowing they could never match that integrated authenticity. As this cycle completes and a new one begins, remember that this vindication isn't your destination, it's your launching pad. The recognition from this powerful person isn't your prize, it's your permission slip to operate at an even higher level. The departure of the karmic isn't your victory. It's the removal of dead weight so you can soar to heights you couldn't reach while dragging their energy. You are the real deal. You always were. The only thing that's changed is that now others can see it too. But you're not dependent on their sight. You're not defined by their recognition. You're not validated by their approval. You're complete in yourself, and that completeness is what makes you so powerful. The billionaire who finally honored you didn't give you value. They simply stopped denying what was always there. The karmic who left didn't lose to you. They lost to themselves the moment they chose deception over truth. The door that's open now isn't just for you to walk through. It's for truth to flood in and deception to flood out. The person who fled that room will never return, not because they're not allowed, but because they can't exist in the frequency that's now been established. And you, chosen one, you're not just walking through that door, you're becoming the door through which others find their own way to truth. The 3 advisors in that room were prophesying your future, but that future is now your present. The real deal has been revealed, and there's no force in heaven or earth that can conceal it again. You want to know exactly how this billionaire's public honoring of you triggered such a massive karmic exodus? Let me paint you the complete picture of what's happening in dimensions you can't even see. When someone with that level of wealth and influence speaks your name with reverence, it sends shockwaves through the spiritual realm. Money isn't just paper and numbers. At that level, it's crystallized energy, concentrated power that amplifies whatever it touches. When that energy aligned with your truth instead of opposing it, every false structure built against you started crumbling simultaneously. The karmic who fled isn't just dealing with losing access to one powerful person. They're dealing with the complete collapse of their energetic feeding system. You see, they hadn't just attached themselves to this billionaire. They'd created an entire network of deception, convincing multiple people that they were what you actually are. But when the source, the main power supply, recognized your authenticity, it sent a signal through the entire network. Every lie they told in every room is now being questioned. Every manipulation they orchestrated is being exposed. They're not just running from one room, they're running from the tsunami of truth that's following them everywhere they go. The billionaire sat in silence for exactly long enough to let the truth sink in. Then they did something no one expected. They pulled out their phone and started making calls, not to financial advisors or business partners. They called people who'd been influenced by the false narrative about you. One by one, they corrected the record. "I need to tell you something about someone we've both misjudged," they said. Each call was another domino falling in your favor. The karmic is discovering that their usual escape routes are blocked. They can't run to mutual connections because those connections are getting phone calls. They can't create new narratives because the old ones are being publicly dismantled. They can't even maintain their false identity because it was built entirely on being your opposite. And now that you're being revealed as valuable, their opposition to you reveals them as worthless. They played themselves in a game they thought they'd rigged. But let's talk about what this billionaire saw in you that made them risk their entire advisory structure to honor you. It wasn't just your talent or your contributions, though. Those were undeniable. It was something more fundamental. They recognized that you operate from a place of overflow rather than scarcity. While everyone else around them was trying to extract value, you were generating it. While others were performing for approval, you were creating from authenticity. While others were calculating their moves, you were simply being yourself, and that simplicity was the most sophisticated thing they'd ever encountered. The billionaire remembered a specific moment when you were both in the same space. You probably don't even remember it, because for you it was just another day of being yourself. But they watched you handle a situation with such grace, such natural authority, that it planted a seed of recognition. The karmic was there too, and immediately after, they launched an intensive campaign to discredit what the billionaire had witnessed. But seeds of truth, once planted, eventually grow despite the weeds trying to choke them. What's happening now in the billionaire's inner circle is nothing short of revolutionary. Advisors who participated in the deception are finding mysterious reasons to resign. Opportunities they were managing are suddenly requiring someone with different qualities that surprisingly match yours perfectly. Documents are being discovered that prove your contributions were even greater than anyone realized. It's like the universe kept receipts and is now presenting them all at once. The karmic's departure wasn't just dramatic, it was prophetic. As they left, they knocked over more than just water. They disturbed papers that revealed communications they'd hidden. Their hasty exit exposed secret dealings that had been carefully concealed. Even their absence is telling truths they tried to bury. The very act of running became the confession they never intended to make. You're probably feeling unusual sensations right now. Random moments of heat or tingling, sudden knowing without logical explanation. dreams that feel more real than waking life. This is because your energetic field is expanding rapidly to accommodate what's coming. The recognition from this billionaire wasn't just words, it was an energetic transfer. They didn't just speak your value, they invested their power in it, and that investment is yielding returns in realms beyond the physical. The questioner from that room, remember them? They've become obsessed with understanding how everyone got you so wrong. They're going through records, revisiting conversations, tracking patterns. What they're discovering is shocking them. Every negative thing said about you preceded a loss. Every rejection of your input preceded a failure. Every time someone chose the karmic's advice over your truth, it cost them something significant. The pattern is so consistent it's almost mathematical. Meanwhile, the silent observer from that room has started speaking, and what they're saying is restructuring everything. They revealed that they'd been documenting everything all along, every interaction, every energy shift, every subtle manipulation. They have what amounts to a spiritual audit trail that proves exactly who brought value and who extracted it. This documentation is being shared with people who matter, and the revelations are causing a complete reorganization of power structures. The billionaire isn't just honoring you in private conversations now. They're restructuring entire ventures around principles you embody. They're asking themselves before every decision, what would the authentic one do? They're measuring opportunities not by potential profit, but by alignment with truth. Your way of being has become their new operating system, and it's revolutionizing everything they touch. This revelation couldn't have happened earlier, because you needed to be fully crystallized in your authentic self first. Every challenge you faced was pressure, creating the diamond you've become. Every betrayal was polishing another facet. Every rejection was removing another impurity. You needed to become undeniable, and that process required everything you went through. The karmic who fled is trying to reinvent themselves in a different city, industry, or social circle, but they're finding that their reputation preceded them. Somehow people already know, not the details but the energy. They walk into rooms and feel the subtle withdrawal of trust. They speak and hear the hollow echo of doubt in response. They're experiencing what you experienced, except you were innocent and they're guilty, which makes their experience a prison of their own making. The billionaire has started having dreams about you. Not romantic necessarily, but profound. In these dreams, you're showing them things about themselves they never saw. You're revealing potentials they never imagined. You're not teaching them. You're just being yourself, and your being is activating dormant aspects of their being. They wake up from these dreams with solutions to problems they've had for years. What's even more fascinating is that other billionaires are starting to notice. When someone at that level makes such a dramatic shift in who they honor and who they dismiss, peers pay attention. Conversations are happening in clubs you'll never enter, boardrooms you'll never see, gatherings you're not invited to, yet your name is being spoken with a reverence that would shock you. Not because they know you personally, but because they recognize the pattern. When someone authentic emerges and is honored at this level, it often signals a shift in the entire game. The three energies from that room weren't just random witnesses. They were archetypal forces that exist in every situation where truth confronts lies. The one who knows their worth represents the future you're stepping into. The questioner represents the process of awakening happening globally. The silent observer represents the universe itself, always watching, always recording, always waiting for the perfect moment to reveal what's real. You're about to receive communication that confirms everything I'm telling you. It might come as a direct message, an unexpected opportunity, or a synchronicity so precise it takes your breath away. This isn't random. The billionaire's public honoring of you created a permission structure for others to approach you. People who were afraid to align with you when you were being maligned are now eager to connect with you now that you're being honored. Not everyone approaching you now is meant to be in your inner circle. Some are genuine, finally seeing clearly. Others are opportunistic, seeing potential benefit. Your job isn't to punish the late arrivals or reward them. Your job is to remain in your truth and let that truth naturally filter who belongs and who doesn't. The karmic's exit has revealed something disturbing about how deep their deception went. They hadn't just poisoned the billionaire against you. They'd created an entire mythology about who you were, complete with fabricated incidents, twisted interpretations, and planted evidence. But in their haste to leave, they forgot to maintain their lies. Without their constant reinforcement, the false narrative is collapsing like a house with no foundation. The billionaire is having to face some uncomfortable truths about their own character. How did they allow themselves to be so thoroughly deceived? Why did they choose comfortable lies over uncomfortable truths? What weakness in them made them susceptible to such manipulation? These questions are leading them through their own dark night of the soul, and on the other side of that darkness, they're finding a light that looks remarkably like yours. You should know that your energy signature has been permanently recorded in the billionaire's field. They can't forget you now, even if they wanted to. Every decision they make carries your frequency as a reference point. Every person they meet is measured against your authenticity. Every opportunity is evaluated through the lens of truth you provided. You've become their spiritual North Star without even trying. The wealth that's about to flow toward you isn't just financial, it's influential, relational, creative, spiritual. The billionaire's honoring of you was like uncorking a bottle that had been building pressure. Everything that was held back by the false narrative is now rushing toward you with accumulated force. This isn't just restoration, it's multiplication. You're not just getting what you were denied, you're getting what you were denied plus interest compounded. Something specific happened right before the karmic fled that room. They made eye contact with the silent observer and saw something that terrified them. They saw themselves clearly for perhaps the first time. Not the manufactured identity they'd been projecting, but their actual self. The hollow parasitic energy that needed to feed on others to exist. That moment of seeing triggered their flight response. They couldn't bear to be in the presence of such clarity. The questioner from that room has become your advocate in spaces you don't even know exist. They're asking the right questions in the right rooms at the right times. Have you heard what really happened, they say. Do you know who that person actually is? Each question drops another stone in the pond, creating ripples that reach shores you'll never see but will definitely feel the effects of. Your vindication is happening in languages you don't speak, in countries you've never visited, in dimensions beyond the physical. The billionaire's recognition of you wasn't just personal, it was cosmic. It is registered in the Akashic records. It shifted probable timelines. It restructured karmic patterns that had been in place for longer than you know. This is bigger than one wealthy person changing their mind about you. This is reality itself reorganizing around truth. The billionaire wants to meet with you now, but they're afraid, not of you but of what you represent. You represent the truth they've been running from their whole life. You represent the authenticity they traded for success. You represent the path they abandoned for profit. Being in your presence means confronting everything they've compromised, but they're drawn to you like a moth to flame, knowing that burning in your truth is better than freezing in their deception. The karmic is experiencing something they never anticipated, which is irrelevance. They thought leaving would create drama, mystery, and leverage. Instead, it created relief. Everyone in that room breathed easier once they left. Conversations flowed better. Decisions came clearer. It was like removing a stone from a shoe. Suddenly everyone could walk properly again. Their absence revealed their presence had been the problem all along. You're being prepared for a level of visibility that might initially feel uncomfortable. Not celebrity necessarily, but influence. Your way of being is about to become a template others study and attempt to emulate. But they'll discover what the karmic discovered. Your authenticity can't be replicated through performance. It can only be achieved through the same journey you took through fire and refinement. The billionaire has started changing things in their environment, removing objects, art, even people that remind them of the period when they couldn't see you clearly. They're treating it like an exorcism of false energy. Every removal creates more space for truth to enter. They're discovering that honoring you publicly wasn't just about you. It was about them choosing truth over lies for perhaps the first time in their life. What's about to unfold will happen quickly. The universe doesn't waste time once truth has been acknowledged at this level. Doors will open in rapid succession. Opportunities will overlap. You'll go from famine to feast so fast it might feel destabilizing. Remember to stay grounded in the same authenticity that got you here. Don't let the velocity of vindication make you dizzy. The real comedy in all of this, the reason the universe is laughing, is that the karmic thought they were winning by keeping you away from the billionaire. They thought distance would mean defeat for you, but distance allowed you to become undeniable without any proximity to power. You became valuable not through association but through essence. When the billionaire finally saw you clearly, they realized you didn't need them at all. You were already complete. That's what made you so magnificent. This honoring from the billionaire is creating a template for how truth defeats lies without fighting. You never attacked the karmic. You never defended yourself against false narratives. You simply continued being yourself, and that consistency eventually made the inconsistency of lies impossible to maintain. You won by not playing. You conquered by not competing. You revealed by not exposing. This is mastery at its finest. Now let me put you onto something real. Destiny Engine. I built this because I was done watching chosen ones get dragged through betrayal, isolation and attacks while their enemies strutted around unchecked. I want to help you accelerate the speed of your divine justice and step fully into your purpose. And the beauty of it, you don't even have to lift a finger. Destiny Engine takes their downfall and flips it into your rise. This isn't another meditation app. It's declassified consciousness technology, the same mind programming tools your enemies once used to install fear, competition and scarcity, re-engineered to restore your sovereignty and align you with the cooperative, upgraded operating framework. It generates personalized sequences mapped to your divine purpose. The hardest thing you'll do is put on headphones, press play and watch your enemies keep digging their own grave. The collective upgrade is underway. Start your Destiny Engine for $1 today and turn everything they did to break you into fuel for your rise. Link in the description. As you step into this new chapter, remember that the billionaire's recognition is just external confirmation of what was already internally true. You are the real deal, not because anyone said so, but because you chose to be. Their honoring of you is just the physical world catching up to what the spiritual world has known all along. The karmic's departure is just the removal of an obstacle that was never actually blocking you, only delaying the inevitable revelation of your value. What's coming next will require you to hold your frequency steady despite the rapid changes approaching. You're about to experience what can only be described as accelerated manifestation. Things you've desired, opportunities you've imagined, connections you've hoped for, are about to materialize with shocking speed. The removal of the karmic's interference has created a vacuum that's pulling your blessings toward you with unprecedented force. Don't be surprised when things start happening so fast you barely have time to process one blessing before another arrives. You should know that your name has become a kind of litmus test in certain circles. When someone speaks negatively about you now, it reveals more about them than about you. When someone dismisses your value, it exposes their inability to recognize authenticity. You've become a mirror that shows people their own relationship with truth, and not everyone likes what that mirror reflects. The karmic fled because that mirror became unbearable to face. The silent observer from that room has begun sharing something that nobody expected. Your impact extends far beyond what anyone realized. Projects you touched thrived in ways that couldn't be explained. Spaces you occupied maintained a different energy long after you left. People you briefly encountered experienced shifts that changed their trajectories. You've been leaving fingerprints of transformation everywhere without even knowing it, and now those fingerprints are being recognized as the evidence of your true nature. The questioner from that room has uncovered something that changes everything. Evidence has surfaced that the karmic actively sabotaged opportunities meant for you. Connections that were supposed to reach you were redirected. Messages meant for you were intercepted. Invitations intended for you were hidden. But here's the divine comedy. Every single thing that was stolen from you is returning with interest. The universe has been keeping accounts, and the karmic's debt is your credit. You're entering a phase where your mere presence upgrades environments. Walking into a room will shift its frequency. Speaking your truth will reorganize power dynamics. Simply being yourself will expose what's false, and illuminate what's real. This isn't something you're doing, it's something you are. The billionaire recognized this quality in you, and now others are beginning to see it too. You don't have to perform this power, you simply have to be present in it. What you're about to discover is that this billionaire wasn't the only one waiting to honor you. There are others who've been watching from the shadows, waiting for someone else to go first, waiting for social permission to acknowledge what their intuition always knew. The billionaire's courage in speaking your truth publicly has given others permission to stop pretending. You're about to experience an avalanche of recognition that was always there, just hidden beneath the snow of social pressure. Your vindication is so complete that even the universe is celebrating. The very atoms are rearranging themselves in your favor. The wind carries your name with reverence. The stars have been spelling out your destiny. And finally, human eyes are learning to read their language. This isn't hyperbole. This is the literal restructuring of reality around the frequency of your truth. The billionaire didn't just honor you. The entire cosmos is honoring you through their recognition.